Hello, hello. Welcome back to Finding Spirit with Tabs. I'm your host, Tabs McCaffrey, and I'm a psychic medium here in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. On this show, I share my own personal experience as I grow and develop my psychic medium abilities, and truly everything and anything spiritually related. I like to consider myself a very grounded and practical psychic medium, as if those words are even all possible in one sentence, but I'm going to show you through this podcast how it's possible and just sharing the journey with you. Today's episodes are really a fun one. I know I always say that, but I do think every episode is a fun one. Every episode is an opportunity for us to learn together. This one is about speaking from our heart and entrusting that intuitive flow. I'm really excited to talk about this one because it has been popping up again and again lately for me. It's actually been kind of crazy in the last 2 weeks. I feel like when spirit brings something up for me, brings it into my awareness, keeps bringing it into my awareness. We talked about this in last week's episode. I know that it's time to actually speak about it. I know that those are my nudges. Like, you get nudged once, you get nudged twice, 3 times, you better start paying attention and take some action. So that's where I'm at with this episode. Today we're going to be diving into intuitive flow. And I talk about the flow state a lot on this podcast. That's where you're just kind of living in the flow. You accept everything. You don't stop and pause at things. You don't get hung up on things. You just allow everything to happen as it happens, and just doing your best to keep moving forward and really just flowing through stuff. So obstacles no longer become big things. You're just like, okay, I need to get through this. This is what I'm going to do. Or just trusting that things are going to continue to work out for your higher good. And that's what I like to call is that flow state. You just have so much trust, and I know it sounds delusional, but you have so much trust in the universe and your guides and your team and spirit that you just allow everything to happen as it happens. Think of it this way. This flow state, this intuitive flow state, this is where we stop overthinking. Okay? We let go of the script. We let go of the plans. We let go of the goals. Like, I need to be here by this point. And we just give it out to the universe. We just allow it to happen. And we allow ourselves to speak directly in a line with our heart and soul. And I think we oftentimes do not allow this space or time for this to happen or to feel this connection. So whether this is with a friend, a coworker, a client, your loved ones, I encourage you to find that deeper space. And we're going to talk about that today, how it's been popping up, how to find this space, and how to navigate it. And then I'm going to end the episode with some very powerful intuitive speaking that has been coming through, and I know is intended for the collective of Finding Spirit. Exactly what you need to hear in the moment today. Okay, so this is how it all got started. I've been getting a couple little nudges in conversations. When something comes up and it's a theme or a topic that pops up a couple times, it starts to pique my interest. And this is how spirit will bring things into your life. This is how your guides will bring things into your life. You'll notice them popping up in conversations with different people. So the biggest nudge that kind of like kicked me in the butt was I recently had an Akashic record reading this morning, and it was a little bit of a teaching session as well. After we finished the reading and we were kind of just unwinding and, wrapping everything up, I found myself speaking in this intuitive flow state. That's the best way I can describe it. I wasn't really thinking about what I was saying. I was just allowing the words to flow and just trusting that I was going to say what she needed to hear. The crazy thing is, as the words were flowing, connections were being made, and my client had this huge aha moment where she's like, it's so crazy that you said this exact phrase because this has been popping up for me. Then she had a tattoo that like matched it. It was wild. The synchronicities were all wild. That phrase that I said was her intuitive nudge. But the funny thing is that through that conversation and us and her connecting those dots, we talked about intuitively speaking, and I was like, okay, this is my nudge now. This is it popping up a couple times for me, and this one was more in a big way. So I knew that I had to take this moment. Now, after the session, I had a quick shower, was getting ready for the day. I have a few other things to do, and I was thinking in the shower, just like replaying, what I got to do today. And all of a sudden it was like, podcast episode, you need to start intuitively speaking. You need to start intuitively speaking in that flow state on the podcast. Your collective needs to hear what is coming through. And I was like, yeah, of course. Because I just laughed because it just felt like all the nudges were lining up to the big idea. So that's how it happens for me. I'll have like a nudge, and then the idea will come to me and I'm like, it all makes sense. That's why I was being nudged in this direction. The seed is being planted in my mind, and then the idea is kind of handed over like, hey, you should be doing this. And that's what I accept as those nudges. So in true spirit fashion, the thought comes back in the shower. And I find, I've always said this, like in the shower, in the bath is a really big download zone for me. I don't know why, but I have a connection with water. I feel like a lot of people say the same thing. They get that connection in the water, and that's where they get a lot of like downloads and nudges and things that are kind of directing them, I guess, on their path and journey. All right, so let's dive into speaking in intuitive flow. But wait, before we get into that, I want to do a quick Finding Spirit headquarters update, and we have a couple dates coming up, so I'm just going to touch on these briefly. I encourage you to head to my website where you can get the information on all of these classes and sessions that are coming up. So May 25th, coming up this weekend, you only have like 2 days to register now, is my Mediumship 101 class. And this is a 4-hour Zoom where we cover all the basics of mediumship. We discover the clairs. I help you figure out what your dominant clair abilities are and really just set you up to be able to sit with someone and start getting information, connecting with spirit, and getting validation. We will also have a little practice at the end of the class, and then you will get a free attendance to one of my practice circles. And I have 2 practice circles before we break for summer. So that's a really fun class. If you are feeling curious or getting the nudge, this is your sign, and you have 2 days to get registered. So if you wait too long, you're going to have to wait till fall. Next up, I have Mediumship Practice Circle on the 29th. There's quite a few people signed up, so if you're hoping to get into that, I would recommend getting that done right away before the practice circle fills up. And then June 5th, I also opened a new class, and this is a Connect with Your Spirit Guides 101 class. I have it slated as an hour class, but I think it's going to be an hour and a half. I'm going to share 2 exercises that work very well to help you connect with your spirit guides and start developing that relationship to get the guidance within your life and the help that you're looking for on this journey. I take all the tidbits from all the sessions and all the spirit guide readings and all the teaching that I've done in sessions and just turned it into a class. So if you've ever had an interest in connecting with your spirit guides and building a relationship, this is going to be the class for you. And it's a really quick one, evening during the week, really practical knowledge. And then the last one is our June 19th Mediumship Practice Circle. I was going to wrap them up in May, but there just has been such an overflowing need for the practice circles. So I squeezed one more in before summer. After June 19th, we are going to be taking a break for 2 months, and we'll start everything back up in September. And that way, everyone just gets to enjoy the warm weather in summer. Everyone's busy. That's what I say. Everyone's busy. Okay, that wraps up what's going on at the headquarters. Let's jump it back into this episode. What is speaking in intuitive flow? Let's talk about what this means and when I say intuitive flow. So it's the space where you're not scripting, where you're not planning every word, where you're not thinking everything through with your analytical brain. You're simply speaking from within. You're connecting with your heart and your soul, and you're trusting that whatever comes out is meant to come out. And the words are being specifically, I think, articulated from the other side. And even as I start to say that, my voice goes wonky, which is the confirmation that Spirit's here and I am speaking from the right space. I don't know if anyone else experiences that when Spirit kind of joins the conversation. Now, oftentimes I feel like the conversation is a bit deeper. It tends to be moving deeper when I slip into that intuitive flow. It's like expressing from your soul. It's not just your mind. It's not just that like surface level kind of discussion. It's really where things start to slip deeper and we start to get to the root of the conversation, I guess. You might feel a little bit of warmth in your chest when you start to speak from this space. You may notice your throat chakra get activated. You may notice a little bit of a quiver or a hoarseness in your throat. That often will happen. Sometimes it feels like a tugging sensation for me. And if you don't experience any of that, it's totally normal too. It just depends on how you perceive and I guess what your sensitivity is to energy. And I'm quite sensitive to communication type energy. I would consider myself a communicator, not necessarily an energy worker. And I think that's why my throat chakra gets activated so much when I speak from this space. But like, honestly, it's not forced. So it's not forced. It's not polished. Sometimes there's stutters in it. Sometimes there's ums and ahs, and you're just allowing it to come out. It tends to feel very honest, raw, and aligned with what you're trying to say and aligned with what's coming from your heart. Now, next, why it's so powerful and what are the benefits of speaking from this space. Speaking in intuitive flow has so many benefits for both you and the person who is receiving it. It helps you get out of your own way and let spirit speak through you. Let your guides speak through you. Let their team speak through you. It's just allowing it to flow through you. It deepens your connection and trust 100% because people feel when something is coming from your heart, it's not a script. And that builds connection between you and the person. Also, when what you're speaking is spot on and resonates deeply with them, that also builds that trust and connection. It also allows for messages to come through that you wouldn't necessarily have thought of on your own. I can't tell you how many times I have said phrases, use sports analogies, or like very random things that do not fall into my regular conversation, but will come out when I speak intuitively. And oftentimes it will hit to them. Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. I love basketball. I can't believe you just used that analogy. And I'm like, I know nothing about basketball. I don't watch basketball. I don't even know where that came from because it's not coming from me, right? It's meant for them, coming from spirit, from our guides, from our team. And honestly, it just feels so good to speak in that form. You leave the conversation feeling very clear, connected, like you were a vessel, I guess, for something more important, and just really finding that purpose in your words and what you're speaking. If you're someone who often wonders, what if I say the wrong thing? I got you. This is your invitation to stop overthinking it. Start trusting, start connecting, speak from that connected space. When you speak from that connected space, the right words will always come out. What is meant to be spoken will be spoken. You cannot come from a bad place when you speak from your heart and from a place of love and your soul, okay? That energy is just so pure. I do believe when you are truly connected to that space, speaking, you're going to say all the right things that are meant to be told in that moment. And if you're wondering, am I intuitively speaking in the flow or am I just rambling? Here's what you're going to notice. You're not going to try and impress them or get it right. You're just going to be speaking it. There's no ego involved in it. You'll feel more present in the moment and within your body. You're going to feel like you are right at the face of the moment. If that makes sense, you're like standing on the edge of the cliff speaking. There's usually a calm or like a light energy around you. Even if you're feeling it deep inside, you're going to feel this difference in, I always describe it like the atmosphere. Like, you know, when there's rain and there's lots of lightning and the air changes, you may feel something like that, but it may be kind of inside you. And when the other person responds emotionally or with confirmation, they may get a little bit of chills, tears. It tends to land square on with them, like where they're like, wow, yeah, that made sense. That I really connect with that. That's generally the response you're going to get from them. And my biggest tip is before you speak, take a pause, take a breath, drop into your body. Even if it's just for a second, ask what wants to come through right now. That simple moment of being in the presence can open the door for you to intuitively speak, and allowing that space. I always say you have to allow space to be connected. If you're always busy, scrolling on your phone, TV's on, listening to things, you're just always engaged, you don't create that quietness, that space for spirit or your guides to come in, pass on messages, or share things with you. Now, a big thing that I think a lot of people will struggle with through this is trusting the right message will come through. I know that that is a really hard one. And one of the most beautiful parts, I think, of intuitively speaking is trusting that you're going to say what is meant for the person receiving it. Even if you don't fully understand what's coming out of your mouth, I want you to try just trusting that it's meant for them, that it's not meant for you to understand, it's just meant for them to hear it. You don't need to translate everything and put it all into your own words. Sometimes the job is just delivering what is coming through and just allowing the message to flow and trusting that it'll land where it needs to. And whether you're like a healer, a friend, a parent, a teacher, you are allowed to trust that the right words will come when you speak from your soul. Okay? You are allowed to trust that. It's okay to feel that way. But also, I'm giving you permission right now. Trust it, okay? Let's go on to the collective message part, because I feel like this is really what this whole episode was meant for, and you may find more of this coming out in future episodes. I feel like this is something I'm meant to share, is some of these downloads and these nudges that I'm getting. So I want to leave space in this episode right now to share a message for the collective, something that I have felt coming through even as I sat down to discuss this topic with you guys. So I'm just going to take a moment, take a couple deep breaths, and just allow it to come through. This is the same as if I was in a session with you and we were talking. I want you to start believing yourself. I want you to push away the doubts that have been circling around you, small or big. I want you to understand that you can do anything that you put your mind to. Anything that you want, you can create in your life. Anything that you want to pursue, you can go after. You have the ability to make these changes every day in your life. And something I've been speaking with a lot of clients about recently is, who do you see yourself as in a few years? What are the qualities of their life? What are the qualities of your life? What are the things that you value the most that you would like to see? And I don't want you to think of monetary things, big house, car, $100,000 salary. I want you to think of what would make you happy, having love in your life, having balance in your life, spending more time outdoors, connecting with your family, your children, maybe your parents more. What things are important to you? Now, if you were to start living each day working towards that future version of yourself, what would you do differently? If you could push away all the doubts that hold you back, all the little nuances of life and human life, if you could put them all aside, how would you respond to things? How would you move forward? What decisions would you make? I want you to take this time right now, heading into June. We're almost halfway through the year. I want you to start looking at that. Where do you see yourself next year? Where do you see yourself after summer? How do you live more aligned with that person? How do you make decisions that bring you closer to that person? I want you to start believing yourself. I want you to start believing what you can accomplish, what you can do, and what you can create in your life, and take this opportunity right now to implement those changes. to start taking baby steps towards that. You don't have to make these grand changes in your life to come to where you want to be in the future. You just have to make these small little changes. 1% every day is 100% in 100 days. So if you made 1% change over the next 3 months, imagine where you would be 3 months from now. So I'm going to leave you with that. I want you to believe in yourself right now. I want you to go after the things that are floating around you and let go of the things that no longer serve you. Let go of the things that no longer serve your higher purpose. This can be past events. This can be patterns that you're seeing in your life. This could be limits that you've put onto yourself. I want you to let them all go. Every time they pop up, I want you to let them go. I want you to tell yourself, I am letting go of this, and this no longer serves my higher purpose. And we're going to start with that right now. So we're going to start working towards the future version of ourselves. We're also going to start trusting the nudges that come through and acting on them. When we receive a nudge, we're going to accept it. We're going to move on it. When we receive a couple nudges, it's definitely time to take action. So on that note, I'm trusting that whoever needs to hear this is going to hear the message today. It's going to impact their life. They're going to make changes. They're going to start thinking about their future version self and what they need to do to move towards that. And I'm going to leave that in your hands for today. I'd love to hear, what are your thoughts? Did this message land for you? Does it make sense for where you are in the moment? I feel like this is definitely going to hit for quite a few people. I feel like this is a general collective message for the people listening to Finding Spirit, for my tribe, for all of you. And I hope it helps you on this journey. All right, guys. If you are new here, make sure to hit follow or subscribe, depending which platform you're on. I'd also love to get a heart, or if you want to leave a comment and share how this resonates, I would love to hear from you guys. On that note, thank you so much for walking this path with me in Finding Spirit and just exploring this whole journey. I will see you next time. Bye.